Have you ever find yourself snapping at somebody and then later on regret it? You realize, I was already pissed off, and then I walked and they were just a convenient target. That was my bad energy. Or maybe you walked into a situation and the tension was so thick in the room that you could have cut it with a knife. And you were like, yo, what is going on right now? That's energy. That's reading the energy in the room. The energy that you bring, the energy between people, the energy that's all around you. And when you ignore that, you're ignoring part of what makes that moment unique. And worse, if you misread it, when you misread the intention of the moment, you normally misrespond to it, if we're honest. Most of my tools are meant for action, but not all of them are. Some allow you to kind of tap into what's going on around you to be able to better choose your next step. This week's tool is really my bread and butter, the multimeter. A multimeter doesn't fix anything by itself. It's not fixing the breaker for you. It's not turning the screwdriver for you. But when you use it correctly to see what's going on, it allows you to start making a plan before you start ripping the wiring apart. Maybe you don't even have to. And I guess that's really the key of the situation. Before you try to start to solve a problem, you got to make sure you're reading the situation right. Ask yourself, is this person really mad at me? Like, did I do something? Or is this person already mad or mad at some other situation? And I just happen to be here to be the scapegoat, or vice versa. Am I frustrated at something, or am I running on empty and I really just need to eat because I'm hangry right now? Checking the energy using your multimeter, that forces you to pause and check the energy. And make sure you choose the proper setting. Sometimes you got to check yourself. Sometimes you got to check others. Sometimes it's the energy of that environment and you just got to get out. Like a real world example of checking what you're working on. I used to trust people to be able to check it beforehand. I was a 4th year apprentice. They told me that a wire was de-energized in the wall as a multi-conductor. That meant it had an A phase, B phase, C phase, neutral, and a ground. I used to trust people when they said they checked the energy on something using the multimeter, literally in the field. But I realized after I cut into a multi-conductor cable and had power on the 3rd phase, the blue phase, or luckily it was only a 120 volt system, and I shorted to ground, but it still blew up a pair of pliers. And that was because I trusted a journeyman of somebody that I was partnering with that was running this small demo job that he had already turned off all the breakers in the panel. Now, hindsight being 2020 and we being experienced, I would never do anything, any kind of work without checking it, going through the proper, procedure. You hit it with a tick tester, the one that you carry in your pocket at all times. And if it's really important, you have to bring your meter to double check it. Because if you skip that, not only could you hurt yourself or other people, but if you're doing something like I'm doing now, you could shut down the whole power plant. You could wipe out power for 60,000 homes. That ain't good. Same thing in life. If you're not aware of the charge in a conversation, if you're not aware of the voltage in your emotions, then you're not going to respond in the right way. You're not going to fix any damage, and really you're probably only going to amplify the damage that's being done. Energy awareness is emotional clarity. It's asking yourself questions in the moment when you recognize that the energy is shifted. What is it that you're bringing into the situation? What is the situation evoking in you? And do you want to stay there and handle that like a responsible adult, or are you going to allow yourself to be swept up in the emotions of whatever's happening? And that's really the key. I mean, this tool is important because your feelings are real, but they may not necessarily always be true or based on truth. It's important to identify that. So this week, before you go about reacting in your normal way, this is what you're going to try to do. Ask yourself in your own words, is my response based on what I know to be true, or am I in my feelings right now? Men, you could be in your feelings too. Just admit it to yourself so you can move past it. Truth is grounded. Feelings, they fluctuate. They go this way and that way with the situation. Are you tired, stressed, hungry, overstimulated? For a lot of us, that's normal. That's the default. But you have to understand it also clouds your clarity. So that's why you have to use that multimeter. You have to be aware of your energy. You have to calibrate to what is default, what is normal for you. As a parent, I've had moments where I've reacted too quickly, and it's not because my kids were doing anything bad. It's really because I was drained and they were just being kids. Kids have an unlimited amount of energy, as all parents understand and know. Little human batteries. The same thing happens in relationships. We think we're arguing about who's going to be doing the dishes, but really we're arguing because we haven't had a movie night in weeks. We're not dealing with the moment most of the time. We're dealing with the underlying charge underneath it. And that's the thing about multimeters. They have multiple settings. Just like us, we deal with multiple energies at once. The key is to know which setting you need to be operating on and which one the moment requires, so that you can choose accordingly and act accordingly. Proverbs 14:29 says, "Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but one who has a hasty temper exalts folly." Being slow to react isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Discernment isn't knowing just what's happening, it's knowing what spirit is it coming from? Is it love, pride, fear, peace? You won't know until you learn to measure it. Every day this week, I want you to find a time that makes sense. Pause and ask yourself, like in the morning, what energy am I starting with today? Before you go to have a tough conversation, a conversation that you've been hyping up in your head, what energy am I bringing into this interaction? If you find yourself triggered and you have the consciousness of thought to be able to say, is this about me or is there something else going on right now? Ask yourself, challenge those emotions, think about them, and if you catch them, jot them down in your notepad so you can revisit them. The key with all this is to start noticing patterns of thought or repetition with yourself, because anything you notice you can become aware of, and if you're aware of something, then you can start to work on it. The goal isn't about perfection, guys. It's about being aware. This is week 8 of 12. We've been stacking tools from self-awareness and choosing the right direction, knowing how to make decisions, managing your time, stepping into energy awareness now. I hope you guys are getting a lot of value from this. If you haven't downloaded the full guide yet, links down in the bio. I highly recommend it. I think a lot of people enjoy. It's all about real tools, real growth, real people getting better. If this message hits home, please share it with somebody. I want to have more people be able to share the love, share the tools, and really share the growth. Sometimes the answer isn't to fight the current. It's to read the current and learn how to go with the flow. Let's keep building together, everybody. Peace.